Mary Ezinne, a health, safety, and environment professional. She studied environmental protection and resource management from the University of Calabar. A visionary, innovative, distinguished, and highly humble individual.
Okay, first of all, my names are Mary Ezinne, also known as Mac Sydney. I am an advocate for the rights of women, youths, children, an advocate for sustainable development, an advocate for the rights of persons living with special abilities. I am a creative project developer and designer. I'm a humanitarian service provider and a philanthropist, if you may, and a host of other things as well.
Mary Mac Ezinne, popularly known as Mac Sydney, has a history of touching lives, developing communities, and adding value to both man and the environment. She is an advocate for true sustainable development, an advocate for the rights of women, youths, children, men, and people living with special needs. Her commitment is evident in her years of selfless service through rural electrification project completed, community centers supported and donated, support for abandoned and homeless children, procurement and distribution of resources to affected areas and persons in need.
Nigerian citizens inspired me, the sufferings of the people, and especially my desire to see a better future for future generations of children, because working in the humanitarian service provision, space, we see a lot of suffering in the streets, and the needs of the women as well catches my heart. And these sets of persons, what we call the downline of Nigerian citizens, inspired me to go into this. Not persons specific, but the populace. There is a need in society, and that's where I thrive. So I answered the call. Yeah, first of all, I always like to remind us that we live in a very diverse society, one that is ethnically lateral, if you want to use the word. We're so dynamic in our country, and for us, I believe that if we are to attend to the immediate problems of, women, youths, and children in society, let's look at the availability of resources to be able to attend to the needs of the people. In the current Nigerian state where we are, development is not, like I like to say, it's not as paced, not to use the word fast-paced, but that's where I'm going. Development is not as paced, and for that reason, some sectors are suffering while others are marginally thriving, and yet the populace is not getting the benefit of the multitude of revenue or resources, if you want to use that word, just to be on a lighter note, that these sectors and industries are generating in a wider frame. So my opinion or my point of view is this: if we can start to see how we can get policies that are citizen friendly, in other words, policies that by the time they are adequately implemented, before the resources hit the ground, it should first of all effectively impact upon the lives of the general populace, which is the women, the youths, and the children. So what's my point of attack? First things first, we have countless graduates pouring out. Okay, let me not start from there. Let me start from the primary schools, part first. We have a large number, because we are, of course, just plus minus 209. Definitely by now, that population has relatively decreased because of crime and other, issues here in the country. So if you want to look at it, we have like a large growing number of children being born, every day in Nigeria. So surely we need to start looking at, the system, how, first of all, literacy programs, education, before we go into how we can create sustainable, economic programs that can help these kids and the other persons in society to have a more stable financial future. A lot of persons travel out of Nigeria. Why? Because they believe that once you're born in foreign land or you are based in a foreign country, both the government gives you a security. Now we need to create that same sense of security here for Nigerians. Start with the educational system from the primary schools, which is something I'm advocating heavily for, and I'm written also one or two bills, which is part of why I got inspired to step forward. These bills, I'm not sure they got to the right place. They should have or made the right impact. Advocating to see how they can improve the public school systems, and make it at par with what is happening in the private schools. So then if we can relatively make education as simplistic, in other words, what I'm talking about is less expensive or accessible to persons who are from a lower cadre family economically, then that will help us a lot. For the youth, we have a large number of persons pouring out of the universities. If we can work together as a society, then first, before talking about being in government, how we can start to actually effectively create more industries. I feel like in the olden days, Nigeria thrived with the way they were pushing upon industrial revolution, but they stopped somewhere. So right now, we need to actually create more opportunities for individuals who are within the youth age range to become entrepreneurs while we are creating more industries to accommodate the large numbers of persons pouring out of our universities. It goes beyond that. Government is supposed to be able to support, youth development. It's a mandate. It's not even a request. It's a must. So these are areas that we will be looking at. For women, I strongly believe that women are the backbone of any society. We need to heavily advance upon literacy programs, because I feel as though much of the problems that we're having, both male and female alike, is high levels of illiteracy. And we take it for granted, but it's a big, big thing. And illiteracy is not just not getting education, it's literacy programs. What's literacy really? We should be talking about informing the people rightly as to, first things first, your place as a citizen is not just waste on government hand-me-downs. You too can become a contributor to societal development. But for the bulk of it is the responsibility of the government also to create an enabling environment. So these two need to marry themselves properly so that we can have a more stable society. So all the plans we have, verily, especially with our agenda, which is rebranding Nigeria, so that we can advance upon sustainable development goals, not just saying it, but creating real programs that can touch upon getting the people to have what we call a stable economy and become more prosperous, because I believe that the best way to attack both corruption, underdevelopment and crime is simply by giving wealth back to the people. Okay, my declaration happened on the 19th of February, and that's as far as this race has begun. But as long as we have been in leadership space, it's been a long, long time. We've been, like I said earlier, I'm a humanitarian service provider, naturalistically. Only in a space of a year or two that we just registered the foundation and have been moving the work forward, because it's been a long time coming. So, yeah.
She is a mother to all, consistently creating programs which support the advancement of people in the society and the nation. Her people-oriented humanitarian practice is the evidence of her philanthropic nature. A visionary and creative development project designer, multifaceted professional and project developer. She is a signature of development and a globalized frame of mind. She is the voice of the people, an ardent socialist, a spokesperson for the implementation of human rights to ensure food security, quality education, good health care, and agricultural advancement. A member of numerous development-based organizations both nationally and internationally.
Yeah, that part. Anyway, first things first, we'll start from the male-dominated society that we live in. It's not a barrier. I always say if you throw a challenge at us, we take it with a piece of salt. It's a piece of encouragement when we encounter difficulties with the male gender who surmise or assume or sometimes choose to say that women's place should be in the kitchen. I say your place is not solely making us get pregnant and having children. So don't throw an insult the other way. We all have a right as individuals to exercise our right of privilege, which is our right of citizenship, and that's the first thing that we must all take into consideration. So the male bias, the gender bias, male chauvinism, it's been a problem, still is, but relatively we're doing our work to try to combat that. The other thing is, as far as being political, or should I use the word presidential aspirant, it's a very tasking job, it's a responsibility, and I take it very serious. So we look at how the limitations in society, especially for us, I'm a young person, I'm youth, and being female as well, there are no provisions specific to supporting youths in governance. It's not like, now let me expatiate a little. We've had a male-dominated leadership form over time. We're talking 61 years. It's going to be 62 when Nigeria clocks 62 in October. And so obviously what that has done is it has given them an opening to all the funds that, every aspect where you can touch facility. But the youths don't have that opportunity. The women haven't had that because you've not been long in the space of leadership. So funding is a huge thing, but it doesn't stop us from moving. Ours is to move like a speed train and take over like a quick bullet. So if we can do our due diligence, I'm sure the right persons, by the grace of God, will find us with the effort that we're putting on ground. Little is much. Then we'll call it for partners anyway to help us out, so that at least we have an equitable playing ground and fighting chance. Thank you. I'll tell you the truth. I don't feel any type of way, really. What it makes me feel is still very upset that we have been heavily undermined as young people, as youths in Nigeria. It's safe to say that the youths have lost, we almost lost our voice. And it's disheartening, it's provoking. And I say it with a smile on my face because it's really upsetting. So rather than hurt myself, I'll say to the youths, wake up from your slumber. I don't feel any type of way. There's nothing to celebrate about being an aspirant. Right now, we are fighting tooth and nail to get the presidential ticket within our party. Amidst the bias, amidst the non-availability of funds, and we are asking the youth to step out, wake up from the slumber, because somebody put a jinx on the system by way of either or. That's how I say it. So there's nothing really to celebrate. We have everything to cry for at this moment. We have a lot of young people dying because of extreme poverty, extreme hunger, we are pushed to the edge. And now we're saying we need to correct the standards and let people know Nigerian youths are very committed individuals. We are driven, we are hardworking, we are a spec, of our own. We are a caliber that should be identified with. When given the right resources, we do very well. So that's how I feel, really. You need a lot of patience. It takes a lot of guts, and I encourage anybody, get out of your fear factor and step into the fray. If there is anything that we have to teach society, really, is don't allow people, tell you what you can and cannot achieve. If you have a vision, you want to become a producer, you want to be, you're an inventor, you can draw, chase, pursue. There's something for effort, first of all. Then, the next part is always give it your best, I've been going through a lot of law. It takes a lot of mind work. You need to be grounded. I'm a community development agent. We've been part of developing different communities, adding value to lives, the lives of women. We've created programs, some which we've been able to sail through with marginal support. Still, we are reaching out and hoping that we can have persons who understand their vision and drive, and then good intent, transparency, accountability meet, So over time, we've done a lot of work, outsourcing resources, if you may, to provide for society and people in society, especially my wonderful special abilities community. They are so dear to my heart. Myself being a special abilities person in a very unique way, and I say that with a pint of joy all the time, because I'll say this again. For every human being born, we all have a deficiency. Nobody is 100% perfect. So, yeah, and in the course of this anyway, milestones, getting to interact with every different tribe and religion and being able to express the uniqueness of what I bring to the table, which is unity, which is non-discrimination, which is a level playing ground. I mean, you can play with me as a child and I can take you serious too when it comes to you doing your job. Oh, well, first of all, you have to have a very good listening ear. Sometimes people may want to just talk and talk and talk. It may sound irrelevant, it may sound unserious, it may sound like, be objective. Have a listening ear. Be non-judgmental in your approach. Allow everybody to express themselves. Be liberalistic. That's another thing, that I have learned. And above all, be equitable. In other words, even when you have that urge to want to say, oh, this person is not from this side or that, keep it real. Every tribe, you owe every tribe and every gender and everybody equal opportunity to express themselves. Thank you. As I like that question, as a strategic planner myself, and the forecaster and the profiler, which are very interesting benefits to have. Conflict resolution for me has been like a modus operandi. Strategic style, relativity, simple, be liberal, like I said. So I am open-minded at all times, and there's no limit to who I can listen to. Little here, grown up here, relative. Anyway, the earlier stages stages of life, I managed to establish something for myself in real estate. And so that's given me good space to be able to work at my own pace. And something I may have not mentioned earlier, being a multifaceted professional, freelance is much of also part of what I do. So it allows me, I'm a compere, everything. So, so it allows me space to be able to operate on this side and operate on the other side. Hey, okay, my Nigerians, this one is for you. First of all, I've heard a lot of conversations about what different persons, think that they might bring to the table. But if there's anything I bring to the table, it's being human. Mm-hmm. First of all, I always like to pride myself for being a child at heart, which is most important. One of the things that I have found that has undermined society's, quick development is that everybody wants to be a quick adult. I'm not in a hurry. I'd rather have the soul of a child, which keeps your innocence. So when you get into power, you don't become greedy. You don't think about your own self. It's not all about just your family. Every other family out there is in penury. So we need to understand that, first persons who are most important is a citizenry before ourselves. So one of the things I'm bringing is, I'll tell you, ingenuity. I'm an innovative person. For Nigeria, my focus, 100, is on creating that Nigeria that I and you will be proud of. In other words, a more developed Nigeria. I want a Nigeria that can compete with countries who we were first independent before, even who do we even want to talk about? Dubai is so developed right now. That's it's quite comical, and we're chasing rather than leading for others to chase. So that's where my focus and our focus as a youth-led government is going to be. We are 100% committed to developing Nigeria, and it is not a negotiable thing. So the only negotiations we're going to be doing is with people who are ready to come and partner with us to make Nigeria a really great nation in every sector. It's not a do or die affair. Secondly, it's a commitment. Once you step out there, don't be willing to step down, because I feel that a step down is an insult to those who believed in you. First, have an honest desire to be there for the good of the people. So whoever gets elected knows that that is the mandate that we want. We're not looking for any floozy who is going to come and take a few bucks, because like I say, we can't mortgage the future of Nigerians. So we are not for sale. Now, I heard a couple of things about it, but for the Nigerian Women Trust Fund, it's a great initiative anyway. First, and because when I was listening, I heard them say they stopped at some point facilitating women, but they actually they hold training programs, which is beautiful. It's key to have a partner for women that is focused on generating the needed support when it comes to economic fact. You understand? So it's a great program, wonderful fund. We are hopeful that they can access those facilities that we individually cannot, and then come together, maybe call a symposium or another seminar, and then shelf through, talk to all the aspirants and see how they can really support, because the women are struggling, tell you the truth. Thank you.
She is the founder and chairman, Board of Trustee, Makada Peace and Development Foundation, PUP, a diplomacy, peace building, conflict resolution, intervention, and development-based organization. She's also the founder and chairman, Board of Trustee, the Mark Sidney Hands of Law Foundation, MSF, an organization focused on procuring resources to provide for persons and communities who are generally in need. She is IVLP alumni, the International Visitor Leadership Program in USA. She's also the Vice Coordinator, South Regional Yali, RLC. She is a writer, creative project developer, a compere, inventor, multifaceted professional, entrepreneur, and the hope of the people. She is the light of the nation, an impact maker, and defender of the youth. Adamak Mary Ezinne Chukwu